Hello, this is Ultramut, and I am replying to a video called Dianic Wicca by Moonlit Opal. During this video, she was just expressing her confusion and her issues with the Dianic tradition, and she just pretty much asked anyone who, was more knowledgeable about the topic, especially Dianic Wiccans, if they could explain the tradition to her a little bit more. Well, I'm not a Dianic Wiccan. I am a goddess worshiper, and I have in the past have been interested in becoming a Dianic Wiccan, so I've read up on it. I'm not an expert, but I probably know more about Dianic Wicca than most pagans do. I'll just explain my beliefs really quick. I'm first mo foremost a pantheist. So I believe that the universe is God, and I believe ultimately it's genderless. And I believe that we use the different gods as a way to relate to different aspects in the universe. And I, as a goddess worshiper, have chosen only to use the feminine names and feminine faces for these different aspects of the universe. And the reason I did this is just pretty much out of preference. When I first started my pagan path about 8 years ago, I did really try to do that whole gender binary thing. Like, I always evoked the goddess and the god, and just eventually after a while, just it never felt right. It felt like I was lying. So even though most pagans see it as unbalanced and don't really get where us goddess worshippers are coming from, to me, um, I'm just being honest, like, to myself about it. For me, I feel it's better to worship just the goddess than to worship the god only because I feel like I need to do it in order to be balanced. If that to other pagans means I'm unbalanced, so be it. I'm doing what makes sense to me. Secondly, I have to, other than like the unbalanced thing in the video, I agree with pretty much everything Moonlit Opal is saying. I have one reason I'm not a Dianic Wiccan. I don't consider myself a Dianic Wiccan is their issue with trans women. Um, I have a big issue with the trans woman exclusion and the woman born only um, policy that they have in most of their groups. To me, it's just I have friends who are trans. I One of my friends transitioned on me, so it's a very personal topic. And I just personally could never be part of woman only space that would tell another woman, a trans woman, I'm sorry, you're not woman enough for this space. To me, that's just pure cruel. That's like a good way just to cut a trans woman deep. It's like you just don't do that. If you know anything about trans women and trans issues, you know that's like one of the meanest things you could possibly do. Um, so that's one reason, that's the main reason I'm not Dianic Wiccan. A main reason I don't want to be called Dianic anymore. I just don't want to be grouped in with that at all. And another thing I'd like to mention is that there's many different forms of Dianic Wicca. Um, the one you were talking about mostly, that's only one form of Dianic Wicca. That's the Z Budapest's brand of Dianic Wicca. A lot of times it's also called feminist Dianic Wicca, and feminist Dianic Wicca, it's mostly focused around the blood mysteries. And Dianic Wiccans believe that there's five blood mysteries. And the first one is birth. The second one is your moon cycle, your period. And then the third one is giving birth. And the fourth one is menopause, and the fifth one's death. That's one reason why they exclude men from it, because men don't experience the blood mysteries, and that's probably also another reason why they exclude trans women. But then, kind of going with what Moon Opal was saying, um, in the Dianic tradition, women don't have to literally experience these blood mysteries. They can. It's perfectly okay for them to symbolically experience them. That, like, the Dianic tradition doesn't command that all women, go and give birth and be mothers, but they can, like, they leave room for women to experience that, like, symbolically. Like, you can be embrace your mother self by, nurturing a career, or by raising stepchildren, or this are like, being an aunt. Like, that's how you can experience the mother mystery. And like what Moon Nipple was saying, if there's room for that, like, why can't they make like room for trans women to to also experience like the blood mysteries in their own unique way. It doesn't quite make sense. Another thing about Dianic tradition, it seems like, at least what I got from reading their books, is that they believe that a woman's power is in her womb, which I agree to a point, because I mean, definitely the act of giving birth is like a big, powerful experience. I mean, I don't know how you can really top that. You create a new life. But at the same time, they also leave room for women who have had to have their uterus removed for whatever reason, and they usually call that the womb space. So it's like a woman's power is either in her womb, or if she no longer has her womb, it comes from her womb space. So I guess that's another reason why trans women aren't allowed, because they say like they never had a womb, they never had the womb space, like, so therefore I don't know. That's their big thing. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much let's see, the Zoodopas, feminists, uh, Dianic Wicca. You have the five blood mysteries. Woman's power comes from her womb. Usually, it's very, very centered around feminism and feminist ideas. Um, it's always exclusive to women born women. I think the only exception to that is intersex women who are raised as females. They allow intersex women raised as girls to be, who still identify as women, to be in their circles, but no other women who are not born women. Um, that's that one. And you also were wondering, how could a man be a Dianic if it's only open to women born women? And the reason that is because there's other Dianic traditions. Zudapest often says that her tradition was the first Dianic tradition, but there's also, I don't know, there's some room that might not be so much true. Like, there's also another form of Dianic Wicca called McFarlane Dianic. And this popped up around the same time as the feminist Dianic tradition popped up, but the McFarlane Dianic tradition, how they differ, big difference from the Z's version of it, is that they include men. So men and trans people can join this tradition. And they also, where the Zudapest tradition only focuses on the goddess and they never call on the god. The Dianic, or the McFarlane Dianic tradition, they view like the goddess as the supreme deity, but they also honor the god as her consort. But they see, instead of like in most Wiccan traditions where the god and the goddess are equal, in the McFarlane tradition, the god is like pretty much a part of the goddess, but she's not a part of him. Like, he's a part of her. And he's not her equal. He's like a consort. He's like a supporting role, but she's like, the big major deity. Um, and also another thing about them is like a lot of their stuff is like oath bound, so you have to like join their tradition to know a lot of their deeper teachings. Where like the Z Budapest's version, like, she pretty much has her stuff all out for everyone to see, pretty much. Like, anyone who wants to know about like the feminist Dianic tradition, you just have to Google it. Where the McFarlane stuff, like, it's for initiates only. And also another thing they include in there is the Celtic tree calendar. I'm not sure how it works because like I'm not initiated, so I don't know. There's also two other branches of Dianic Wicca I've found online. The first one is the Apple Branch Dianic. I don't really tradition. I don't really know much about it other than it says that it's like a mixture of the feminist Dianic tradition and then the McFarlane Dianic tradition. They also seem like they're really centered around the Celtic tree calendar also. Um, and then you also have can't even pronounce this, but the Dianic, and I'm just going to spell this. It's Nemorensis tradition. And this Dianic tradition is based in Brazil, and it's seems like similar to the Apple Branch Dianic tradition. As both the Apple Branch Dianic tradition and this tradition, they both include males. So it's open to anyone. And this one's based in Brazil, and that's pretty much all I really know about it. And I'm pretty sure if you wanted to, you probably could find more Dianic traditions. But and then there's also goddess traditions that don't consider themselves Dianic for one reason or another. They don't like to use that label. And a lot of those traditions, I would say most of them probably are open to men. So maybe that's like where that whole idea that there's like male only Dianic like circles is coming from. So that's a little bit of information. I'm probably going to include links to these Dianic traditions so you can see them, and hope that answers your question. Thanks.